We're going to the city of sunshine where the weather stays fantastic year-round and you've got the best beachfront property in the entire country.
Welcome to Hot Markets, where we bring you to the hottest real estate markets around the globe. Hot Markets is sponsored by the Spalia Group, where we believe in sustainable real estate investment. Whether you are a beginner real estate investor all the way up to a multi-property portfolio, let us be your on-the-ground resource here. So please do not hesitate to email us. We look forward to speaking with you soon. And if you could subscribe to the channel, like, share, and comment, that would help us to continue to give you this content.
All right, guys, so we're heading to San Diego this week for Hot Markets. And this is a really intriguing spot to me because now we're in Southern California. We've got to deal with California and looking at putting money back into California and really investing in the land there. What do you guys think about San Diego?
Well, overall, I think, California people are leaving, and so that's a concern. But, from looking at San Diego specifically, it's not as much of a net exodus as San Francisco Bay Area and Los Angeles area. There's a lot of money coming into San Diego, and San Diego was a little cheaper than Los Angeles and San Francisco, so it benefited from that. There's a lot of projects going on. Horton Plaza in the center downtown San Diego that's being totally refurbished, and all the retail stores are being upgraded to nicer stores. We got that. Also here, like Apple's opening a new branch in La Jolla. So there's just so much going on, and it's always like Miami we talked about last week. It's just it's a tourist destination. Everyone loves San Diego to visit.
So when I look at San Diego, there's a couple things that I look at. One, you've got, like you said, the increase of tourism. But then you also want to look at the construction and what's happening in downtown San Diego and the surrounding areas. So like you said, there's a bunch of new construction taking place. There was a bit of a slowdown in 2019, but what we're seeing is a lot of money going into high-end residential, multi-family or multi-story mixed-use buildings. So there's going to be a lot more commercial space going in, and then there's also a lot more luxury apartments being built up. So you've got at least 5 or 6 high-rise buildings that are being built in downtown San Diego that are going to have high-rise condominiums. That means that we're anticipating growth in population, we're anticipating more jobs, and we're anticipating an influx of people moving into the San Diego area. So I think this is a really great opportunity to start looking at investing some money into downtown San Diego and some of the surrounding areas around San Diego. What are your thoughts, Jorel?
I mean, absolutely. We're getting exodus out of LA right now. A lot of hospitality, a lot of restaurateurs are actually branching out to San Diego right now. So in my mind, it's a perfect time to get back into California as everyone's leaving. We can get these properties for, 80 cents on the dollar of what they used to be. We're seeing price per square footage drop. San Diego's always going to have a major Airbnb scene and short-term rentals. You also got the base there as well, so there's potential for long-term rentals as well. So I think, single family homes, apartments, the high rises, we're seeing a lot of hospitality groups go back into the infrastructure. So I think within the next 5 to 10 years, San Diego is going to be extremely stable as far as California goes. We might see a little bit of drop around the state, but I think Southern California is definitely going to maintain. Plus the weather's perfect there every day.
And I think we have to keep in mind that there is an exodus out of California, which also means that this is a great opportunity to start reinvesting back into California, because what the price point was 2 years ago is a very different price point now, and that means we are going to collect more on our dollar of invested money down the line, because California is not going to really go anywhere. You still have some of the best beachfront properties in California. You've got some of the best locations, some of the best hospitality, some of the best restaurants in the entire country in California. And so California is always going to be a hotspot. It's always going to be a place that we go and we look at for tourism and for that vacation dollar.
So the last time I was in San Diego, I was just surprised how busy and bustling it is. Like, I was in the Little Italy section, I'm sure in the downtown San Diego area, and like every restaurant had a line. And when I was there 10 years ago, it wasn't like that at all. I mean, it was like you could just walk into any restaurant, and now you got to line up like pretty much everywhere.
I would say San Diego isn't on the top of the list of hot markets in the return on your investment. However, it is something to keep in mind into investing your money into, because it is going to be on a constant up and up growth. And that is some place that I think, like Jorel said, is going to stay very steady. And we want to keep money growing within that San Diego area. You do have the base, so you're always going to have this kind of turnaround, which is nice, happening in San Diego. And you've got the track that's going to be seasonal. You've got Legoland. You've got a lot of these attractions that are bringing people in, and then you've always got the beach that stays consistent. So
If we got the zoo.
and you've got the zoo,
That's
right?
it.
Yeah, so that's a place that you're always going to have kind of consistency with people going in. And then you've just got events in San Diego that are on a consistent basis too, that are happening annually, where different times through the year, you're going to have influxes of visitation.
Yeah, I mean, definitely you're seeing, the growth's going to be there. It's not quite as high as other markets we've been covering, but you will have the nightly rate there. It's
Right.
a higher nightly rate, slightly less than Miami is, but you're still talking about $275 to $300 a night. So short-term rentals are going to be fantastic out there, especially on beachside property. Then we can up that a little bit. Overall property growth and return, the downside to California is property taxes. So we got to offset that a little bit and just make sure our occupancy rates are very high over the time. But overall, you're still going to make money in the ground.
And the nice thing with the San Diego area is you've got differences in sizes. You've got, 2,000 square foot condos that are going up, and apartments, or 4,000 square foot apartments that are going in. You've got 10,000 square foot homes you can buy that are beachfront properties. And then you've got these little bungalows that you can buy up as well. So there's a lot of different opportunity in the price points of what you want, of the dollars you want to invest into the ground, and the return that you want to make. Whereas you can return, like you said, $250 nightly, or you can return, $10,000 to $20,000 monthly, right?
I agree with Jorel on the fact that, or I think you said it too, Allison, the return's not quite as high as Miami. The growth in rental rates is like Florida's just blowing away every state. But you still have a decent return, and it should be stable, like you said.
And I think we're gonna see in California is less people leaving the state that we saw there's gonna be less of an exodus that we saw in the last 2 years. There's gonna be more of a shift of where people are living in California. They're gonna stay in California, their jobs are in California, their families are in California, but they're gonna start shifting where they're living in California. And I think San Diego is always gonna be a hot spot. The surrounding area, that Southern California, just south of LA, Orange County and south, is always going to be a hot spot for people to be putting their money in the ground, raising their families. It's a safer environment. The weather is beautiful. It's more consistent. And I think that's always going to drive people into that southern part of California.
You also have the infrastructure. The airport's not bad, and there's a lot of direct flights to lots of locations. There's even direct to Tokyo, which I've taken.
Yeah.
So it's convenient.
And there's a lot more to do out of San Diego, especially because you've got the marinas right there, you've got the beach right there, and then you can hop over to Catalina very easily from California. You can get into Cabo, Mexico very easily right from California. There's a lot more of that kind of outdoorsy spirit in California, where people are at the beach, people are hiking, people are entertaining themselves with the natural surroundings, more than just being part of that city. So you've got the nightlife in the city at night, and then you've got an adventure during the day where you can get outside and really explore.
So on the negative side, or things you're worried about, like what comes top to your mind? Like, to me, like, I think about, there is like a homeless issue. Mm-hmm. There's more and more homeless to take care of.
Well, I think you're going to have to deal with California, right? And that's going to be the bigger picture. You've got taxes in California. You've got some of the the issues of California's legislation, and I think a lot of that's going to get cleared up in the next coming years. So that's why I think it's very interesting to start talking about reinvesting and investing back into California, because people are driving with their money in the ground and trying to create a better environment and a better place. And a lot of that, we've seen that decline, a lot of it started from COVID, and I think if we all can kind of come together and really build California back up and build these cities back up by investing in and caring about the environment and caring about the buildings that we're building in and really maintaining those buildings, I think we're going to see that decrease of some of the issues that are coming up to you and some of the issues that everyone kind of focuses on when they think of California.
I agree with Jorel on the fact that, or I think you said it too, Allison, the return's not quite as high as Miami. The growth in rental rates is like Florida's just blowing away every state. But you still have a decent return and it should be stable, like you said. You also have the infrastructure. The airport's not bad, and there's a lot of direct flights to lots of locations. There's even direct to Tokyo, which I've taken.
Yeah.
So it's convenient.
And there's a lot more to do out of San Diego, especially because you've got the marinas right there, you've got the beach right there, and then you can hop over to Catalina very easily from California. You can get into Cabo, Mexico very easily right from California. There's a lot more of that kind of outdoorsy spirit in California where people are at the beach, people are hiking, people are entertaining themselves with the natural surroundings more than just being part of that city. So you've got the nightlife in the city at night, and then you've got an adventure during the day where you can get outside and really explore.
Things you're worried about, like what comes top to your mind, like to me, like I think about there is like a homeless issue. Mm-hmm. There's more and more homeless to take care of.
Well, I think you're going to have to deal with California, right? And that's going to be the bigger picture. You've got taxes in California. You've got some of the issues of California's legislation. And I think a lot of that's going to get cleared up in the next coming years. So that's why I think it's very interesting to start talking about reinvesting and investing back into California, because people are driving with their money in the ground and trying to create a better environment and a better place. And a lot of that, we've seen that decline, a lot of it started from COVID, and I think if we all can kind of come together and really build California back up and build these cities back up by investing in and caring about the environment and caring about the buildings that we're building in and really maintaining those buildings, I think we're gonna see that decrease of some of the issues that are coming up to you and some of the issues that everyone kind of focuses on when they think of California.
Yeah, and I think as the development dollar goes in, those problems will naturally level out as well. A big thing too is with the infrastructure bills and, so-called building back better, California is going to take most of that money. California and New York are going to equate to about 50% of that entire gross pot.
So I do think if we're going to invest into San Diego or we're going to put money into California, I think it has to be a long-term plan. I think we have to look at putting money into really good property that is going to be sustainable, that's going to have longevity to that property. So I think it's really important to look at that actual property, especially if it's beachfront, see if there's any damage to that building, see what remediations are going to take to that building, and really build it up so that we have a long-term investment. Look at the long-term numbers of what it's going to cost to hold that building, and then what the return on that investment is going to be. I think that's going to be the key in putting money into the ground in California, especially in that San Diego market.
Okay. So, what do we think? How many stars out of 5?
5 stars.
I'm going to give San Diego 3 stars out of 5.
I'm going to give it 4, and I'm taking away a star for all the issues and problems. We also didn't talk about the fact that being a landlord in California is a little harder. It's harder to go through the eviction process. The other thing in general is like litigation risk in general is higher. There's more lawyers, there's more lawsuits that easily come up in California versus Arizona and other states.
Yeah, I agree. I think that we would really have to sit down and find the actual right property. Might end up even being a commercial property to invest in. I think it's not as easy as buying into Miami, buying into Arizona, buying into some of the other markets that I know are going to return 30% or at least 20% within a year, that if any issues ensue, I can sell real quick. California has a long-term plan, so I think there's a lot more where we really have to sit down and work those numbers and look at that risk and mitigate that risk as much as possible. And that's what we do. So I think this is just one that's going to take a little bit more time on our part.
Yeah, definitely a little deep digging on it. I think the mixed-use commercial space is really probably the prime market to go into there. Single-family homes, residential places, even condos are a little risky in California just because there is, memorandums of evictions and things. It is hard to be a landlord. It's one of the tougher states to be a landlord in successfully. So, you mitigate that risk quite a bit by renting to corporations and companies. So I think that mixed use space is really where it's going to be at.
And I think with that, we're going to have to put a higher dollar amount into the ground and have a long-term game plan of what the return truly is going to be out of California.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we appreciate y'all.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you on the next one.
Thanks very much for watching our show. Now, if you would like a consultation on your real estate portfolio, if you are looking to enter a new state or a new property type, please do not hesitate to email us and we will get back to you right away. Thanks again and look forward to seeing you on the next show.